It never happened. We had to take him out of the game. They had to stick him out.
Yeah, we took him out.
Yeah, take him out of the game. That went on. I don't know what he played any further than that, but I'll tell you what, he could play football then. And I have things about everybody. I could talk for the rest of the afternoon. But it's just wonderful to see all of you here. I'm glad that you took the time to come. And it's just, it's overwhelming. I'm going to remember this the rest of my life. I've got all these things. I've got the trophies, and I've got trophies home. We took all the plaques off. We gave the trophies to the hospitals and things so the kids could give them out. And they could give them to the kids if they did this or did that. Because trophies, I'm not going to do anything with trophies. You can only have them so long. I got drawers full of them. They're all meaningful. My 2 footballs are very meaningful. That was instigated by Mr. and Mrs. Whipple, Josh's mom and dad. Their father played for me. Yep, he was an end. He played. I've had so many. They talk about grandparents and things. Isn't it something when your assistant coach's father played for you? And I look over at Joe. Joe was here. He's a chum. Joe was here. And he was here the year that I started coaching modified football. So it's just I've had a complete career. I've played all over, and like I said, I told my grandsons, I took them to the Syracuse, and I go in every spring, we go up and see the spring game, and I tell them how bad Syracuse is. Then they turn around last week and beat West Virginia. I know that. But I really enjoyed my career, and I say I try to tell the kids that nothing is impossible. Nothing. I took over when Mr. McKay was coaching. I came back to coach at Draper. I'd been at Linton and so forth. And in fact, I remember because Mr. Mazzaroni was my quarterback, I inherited him, right? I inherited you. And they kept saying to us, Coach, they haven't won in I don't know how long. Well, I took him back, and Mr. McKay went to Mr. Guest and said, he said, I'm worried about my kids. We're going to play Ravenna today, and Ravenna is very good. And I took the kids in the locker room before the game, and I gave them an inspiring speech. They almost knocked me down trying to get out. We went out on the field, and Joe Frank broke his leg, but we won 26-6. So that from that point on, we knew that there's a lot to it. It's just a lot to coaching. And I'm hoping that Mr. has a good season. I hope you have a good football team. The kids are starting to come a little bit. They're coming, and they'll get better. Don't worry. He's going to insist that they get better. I'm looking at my wife and my daughter. It's like driving in the car, when they drive, that seat next to me, it must have some kind of a magic thing to it because it tells you what to do. And I got along all these years listening to what they tell me to do. Brian McGarry. Brian, what are you doing?
Videotaping you.
Brian played football for me, and for about 15 minutes, and I told him, he came out for football. Him and Mark were best friends. He came out for football because Mark was out there. Mark was a football player. Brian came out, and I said, oh my God. After one practice, I said, Brian, go to cross country. Brian, is that the truth?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, he was a hell of a cross country. He was a good cross country.
I turning red.
He played because of the other guys were playing.
That's how it was at Draper, though.
I was just telling Tommy how Tommy Baum played quarterback for me. Scotia beat me 10-7. 10-7. The last play of the game, we're on the 4-yard line, and we threw a pass. It was just a quick down and out. I had the wrong quarterback. I had 2 quarterbacks. I had the wrong quarterback playing. Tommy didn't play. Tommy was my passer. His buddy Bill Nitchie was the other passer. He couldn't pass anything. He threw the ball away. He threw the ball away. We lost the game. We would have won. He was all by himself. Tony was all by himself. All we had to do was dump the ball out. What? Boy, I didn't get those orders. See, I told you what she was. She's a secretary. An administrative secretary. We're ready to go.
Coach, thank you for your time.
Telling you to wrap it up.
Thank you for all your time, all these years.
All these years. Thanks, Doug.
I mean, seriously, I mean, it's,
Doug's a Scotia boy.
I really, the amount of time he's put in is, it just boggles the mind.
I hate
Thank
Scotia people. Really hate Scotia people.
Can I tell one story?
Joe, you have a story?
Yeah.
All right, listen to this.
I played baseball. My name's Joe Perola. I played baseball for Doug. And one day after practice, he goes, "Hey, Joe, you know how to put that tractor? You know how to drive that tractor?" I go, "Sure, Coach." He goes, "Put it in the garage for me, will you?"
Yeah.
So I drove it down to the girls' club, and the garage door wasn't open far enough, and I hit the garage door with the exhaust pipe. It came down in front of the steering wheel, and I went right through the door. Coach comes over, he goes, "Joe." I says, I thought he was going to kill me. He goes, "No, it's okay, Joe. Well, what the hell am I going to tell Ray Legier?"
That was that year that Jamie Suriano and David D'Agostino stole the tractor and tore down the backstop.
It was Belomo too. He
I
told
come
me
to
the story.
practice on Monday and the backstop gone. How was my backstop? We ended up finishing our season at Scotia. We used the field over in Scotia because they tore my backstop down. I got a new backstop out of it. Yeah, Joey. I know it. I know. His wife was on the school board. Yeah, well, I've had a wonderful experience. I had school board members, kids played for me. It's been a wonderful thing. The Mahonison people became my people. So you gotta do that. There's no other way you can do it. And I've enjoyed coaching for them and being here. I was treated very well. I've been treated very well. I've been put up with some of the things I did. The famous thing is probably Josh Whipple. Josh says, "Coach, I could never say things that you say." What do you mean? You say fire me in 2 minutes. You tell people just like it is. That's the way it's going to be. So now Josh is on his own. I'm not coming to see you, Josh. I'll be yelling at you from the sidelines. No, I'll be back.
Scissors!
Yep, I'll be back. Don't worry. Steve and I coached together for 22 years. I went and got him. I said, "Steve, you work nights down at G. Get your hind end over there with me. Coach with me."
Woke me up.
Steve coached with me for. Steve was a player. I mean, that's a difference. He's not a coach. He's not a trained coach. He's a player, and he coached like a player, and the kids enjoyed that. Yeah, there's lots of. He did what people told him to do when he was playing. He had Kenny Johnson and all those guys, right? Mr. Whip, all the guys that we had. Huh? The Whip, right? Yeah, the Whip. And we had a great time. So anyways, as I said, I'm just, thank you all for allowing me to coach your children, your brothers and sisters and everybody else. I've had a wonderful career, and they asked me, what am I going to do now? We're going to Florida. I'm going to Disneyland.